Hello, I will wait for a few people to connect and then we will start. Those of you who don't know, I'm a psychic medium as well as a twin flame. And we're going to talk a bit about the downloads that I've been getting. If you are wanting a booking, you can go to the link. It is quite late now, so I'm persevering through and I'll wait for everyone to connect. You're probably like, where the hell's Yildiz? Persevering through, peeps. It's been pretty hectic. Hi, Christy. I'm drinking a cup of tea. I heard that apparently caffeine makes you live longer, so I'm on tea. I know it's got caffeine. I really should go the decaf. Who wants the ascension symptoms, right? My girlfriend put a post up. Caffeine makes you live longer. And I was like, How are we all? You're back. I don't know. Are we really ready for the 30th? I mean, are we really ready for the 30th? Now, I did mention last month that I was feeling Saturn retrograde. We are experiencing, to a degree, especially where Mercury is positioned, Mercury aspects similar to retrograde. No, it's not retrograde, although the frequency semi-feels like that. Just looking over the astrology, I've been researching a lot of it, and I am going to do a twin flame read. Now, a lot of the downloads is that this is potentially the karmic season to end all karmic seasons. It is a 5-month transit. There is a lot that is going to be going down already energetically. There is a lot that is going down, whether you're with the person or not. And it is both at an individual level, especially with the nodes being in Cancer and Capricorn. Now, as of the 30th, well, it is potentially today for me. And that energy from the 28th through to the 30th, as I mentioned before, is very heavy. So it can be where you're feeling quite triggered, quite frustrated. There's a lot of Aries frequency at the moment where Aries is the first house. So when you do look at the first house, it all is about self, which is funny because Venus is actually in Aries at the moment, which I was saying to a client yesterday. Isn't it funny? It really does represent completely the twin flame path because we do purge the aspects of codependency into coming home to thyself. Being in the first house, very much that is very relevant. It can come across as a bit egotistical. Not that I feel that we're intentionally wanting to do that. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm clearing the cards. So I had been cleared before, but I'm making sure. So with Aries and Venus, the moon is transitioning over, and tomorrow providing this full to do the reading on the 30th when the energy is going to peak, Saturn is going to be stationary. So when the planet is stationary, I describe it in an interesting context. Now, looking at it, the degree point that Saturn is going to be at will be stationary for that day. I'll read into it and I'll explain. So we're going to have Jupiter at approximately 23 degrees as well as Pluto at 23 degrees. So it's quite interesting. Saturn, like a flashlight, is looking down and showing us what is and what isn't working. When it comes to Jupiter, the aspect of you wanting to grow and what you're wanting to get off the ground, your consciousness, the path you're wishing to travel, the growth in that area is going to be retrograde. Now, never look at the planets as because they're going retrograde, one can't achieve. That's not so. It's a frequency and an energy, and it is going to be super heavy tomorrow. That's for me in Australia. For those of you that will be coming. I did want to do the video ahead of time, but I did pre-warn you guys in the previous video. With Pluto being in that area at the same degree point, it's almost like two sides of the fence with Saturn, the father of the universe, looking down a bit like a holy trinity. Saturn is showing us directly what the issues are. Now, tomorrow, providing everything works out accordingly, I have done the astrology per zodiac sign. Now, I am going to start tomorrow morning. Hopefully, if I can raise myself, I will be doing that. And working through the day to try and get as many as I humanly can done possible. Otherwise, they will transition over to the next day, but I will get as many as I can get done. I'm also going to pull the cards per house. So each zodiac sign will be experiencing the karmic frequency for the next 5 months in particular areas of your life. So I can explain roughly what can be coming up for each zodiac sign potentially, especially at a karmic level, and I will pull cards in those areas. So I'll be doing that tomorrow, so we'll leave that to the side. With the way the astrology is, with Jupiter, definitely the accountability factor. It's really going to be highlighting what is and what isn't working. You know, what needs to be purged, what needs to be released, where there are restrictions on situations. Hi everyone. So it can be a very frustrating energy. Whether it's on your side of the fence, their side, it's collective energy, be it you're a twin or you're not a twin. Currently, the sun is in Taurus as of the 30th. Now, with that, Uranus is in Taurus, and it is to do with the spiritual path and transitioning to that next level of what you feel is beautiful. Now, Taurus energies alone are going to be going through a mass transformation this year, but collectively, the sun being masculine frequency as well, it can be that they're really focused on, you know, what they're wanting and, you know, how do I put it? Especially with Aries being in Venus, they're going to be really, really looking at what is relevant to them. With the moon energy, it's in Pisces, which is very similar to the frequency of what we had, but it's also where Neptune is currently. So Neptune is the planet of delusions and illusions. It's great for inventions, creativity, imagining the unimaginable, but there can be some things where you're actually looking at the situation very differently. I am also going to be pulling cards for the new energy of Taurus next month. That is going to be for, as Giggle said, the 4th and the 5th. Now, towards the end of the month, we are moving into Scorpio moon. So, again, I will cover both transits and what's coming up with that. You're going to find there is a lot of frequency of Aries energy. We have Mercury, Venus, and Chiron and Aries. Again, it's all to do with the first house, but each zodiac sign tomorrow, when I deal with it, hi Kelly, it will address the areas that is going to affect you. You can also look at your counterparts' energy and you can see how it's affecting them. Now, the other videos I've done for the Twin Flame Collective will be released tomorrow. I did want to do them earlier, but obviously with all the ascension symptoms, the transition with both my twin and I, there has been a lot of workload, so I've had to focus on this month coming so that you've got month and mid-month and I can start getting ahead. The balance, obviously, everyone is trying to get, and I will come back and do more live sessions during the month. Psychically speaking, there is an energy of a deep shift. There also are imbalances that are coming to the forefront where we're seeing are not manageable to stay in the way they currently are. Now, one way you could look at Saturn is almost like the universe is taking you to the mountain edge at the bottom and saying to you in a Jupiter frequency, okay, this is what you've been dealing with, similar to a Neptune frequency of delusions and illusions. Do you think it's manageable? And really, from a spiritual point of view, with Chiron and Aries and Venus and Aries, you're really asking yourself, it's a very disconnected energy, but a very healthy way to actually view the situation. Because ultimately, I mean, today I had a very interesting scenario with my daughter. She had something happen and she was explaining how she had wanted an apology. And then a series of very unfortunate events happened. And directly after, the roles were reversed. You know, especially for the collective of feminines that have been hurt, this question has been asked quite a lot. How do you find forgiveness? Now, the ironic thing is, when a person hurts you, if you say sorry to them, does that take the pain away? No. So a lot of times through the transition of your healing, what you do need to understand is even if a person came to you who could be a friend, it could be a co-worker, could be some tragedy that happened in your life that was profound. And if external to you, the person was then to come to you and say, look, I'm really sorry, unless you physically come to terms with that energy and you do the processing inside yourself, another person, even if they were the person who wronged you in some shape or form, can't get your frequency back where it needs to be for closure. Even if you have that conversation, unless you're energetically prepared and ready to release it, it's not going to go. So, you know, it's probably the nicest way I can explain it. Obviously, myself, I've had to go through that and I continue to. But I do get into mindfulness about that as a relevant frequency. So directly on the opposite side of the fence, something happened and she had a realization of that. There is an energy where, like I said, for the next 5 months, and especially really coming out into the open, you will find a lot of karmic frequency. Missed you too. So the karmic frequency, as I said, last month I was feeling the Saturn frequency. Even before Mercury had gone retrograde, a couple of months ago, I was feeling that frequency potentially a month ago. Already I was feeling 4 days ago the frequency of Saturn stationary. And there are trigger points coming up. And there is very much the first house in Aries coming up on my side of the fence. And I'm sure if you really meditated and looked at how you are viewing things, it is very much from a detached perspective, which is very similar to the video I explained in relation to detachment. So if you haven't looked at it, have a look. It does have a lot of relevant information on how to handle ascension, and it's always relevant, that video. So I will start doing videos that will connect to that. What you're going to need to understand is it's not that both parties don't wish to work together. It's not that people around you, your family, your kin, your work domain, everybody collectively is feeling this energy. There can be a lot of frustration. There can also be levels of detachment. There's a lot of heart chakra activation. And I did have a conversation with Feliciana this morning, and I did listen to another reader, although I can't remember her name. I will try and remember. There's different levels of heart chakra. One very quick, simple way to explain it is there's the 3D and there's the 5D, and that's just at a very basic frequency level. So a lot of times when you're thinking, how and why am I purging this energy? It's not that you haven't purged it. There's different levels. It's a bit like an elevator. Another thing is a lot of us are jumping timelines. Although at the 3D level we're looking at things and we're thinking it's going to turn out a particular way, a lot of it is fear-based frequency. And I have had a great deal of people contacting me, both with very heavy ascension symptoms, but also very, very depressed frequency. You know, and you should always reach out if it's getting to that point where you feel you're coming down and crashing and burning. You know, to get the support you need, and know that yes, it is a temporary thing, but never find that shame inside you if you feel you need to reach out for that guidance and support during that transition. The frustration can be due to the fact that you're picking up other people's frequencies at a collective level. A lot of it is also, how would I put it? It's the first. And I'm even finding people that have not been awoken are feeling this vibration. And last year when we were going through all the retrogrades, there were pockets and groups that weren't feeling it at all. There is now an energy where there are the norm collective that are experiencing it. So energetically, the things you've gone through last year are preparing you to support and help other people that are around you, that you will understand and grasp what's going on. If you are an empath, you really need to be doing the work also very separately, obviously, to this transit, on developing your gifts. It's what's going to protect you as you ascend further. A lot of times when you are having a spiritual upgrade, you can actually get unwell. By not purging also, you can get quite unwell. In the release factor, after feeling fatigued, you will have an uplifting energy where you will feel lighter in energy. So if you guys have been experiencing great fatigue, it is due to the fact that you are releasing an energy of a past tense scenario and purging it and ascending upwards. And there can be extra sensory gifts that can come through with that. Okay, let's have a look at what's coming through. Now, I do know, before I look at the cards, the masculine is going through a great deal of change. There is a lot of meditation in their own energy of what they're wanting to do, how they're to do things. There is a lot of karmic cleanup, but there's also a lot of external conflict, some of which you may not be aware of, and many of you may not be aware of it at all, but there is also a time frame in which you may not feel the energy and you feel quite detached. It's very normal, so don't get paranoid when that happens. But then it can come at left field. There's also a lot of songs coming through for a lot of twins at the moment. The signs and synchronicities tend to come when you're in alignment. A lot of times if you think to yourself, hey, I really haven't been seeing any signs lately, it's because you're very dense and heavy in the 3D energy, dealing with what is directly in front of you. If you are noticing and it comes to mind that you haven't seen any, again, I'll say it's not bad. It can also mean two things. One, you're on the right path and you're detached, you're in the moment, which is very healthy. Another is that you're out of alignment. So once you have that assessment of it, if you can regroup, get grounded, then pause and release, the signs may return back and you actually will be then interconnected again. And again, when you are seeing 111, a lot of you who have been on the journey for a very long time, you tend to think, hey, I've seen this before. It can be telling you that, yes, you are on the right path, but it also can be a, hey, don't forget alignment. Double check with yourself, anchor your energy back in, get grounded. I am feeling some major situations happening in the next week, although you can look at next month, especially with the moon energy being in Taurus, to be quite a positive thing. Although for a week, I do feel we do need to bear in mind it can be quite heavy. The crowning energy for masculine at the moment is I earn unlimited income doing what I love. I am successful in all of my pursuits. A lot of the masculines, again, with the green coming through with the emerald, they're really following their heart. They're really following their dreams. And again, as I mentioned, the Aries frequency for the masculines coming through in the Venus house, and is for feminines as well, but for them separately, as I focus in on the masculine energy, it's a very healthy way of looking at things, because it does mean karmic energies no longer can influence the patterning or the mindsets of the way in which they're wishing to move. So it is going to be a very personal level where they're assessing things. It is a very truthful level that they're going to be assessing things. With the sun being in Taurus on the 30th, that energy also can be very positive, where they are looking at things from a bigger picture perspective of what they would prefer to happen. So it's like a double-edged sword, but in a healthy way. So if energies that are karmic related are trying to influence the situation, I feel they're going to be quite rational and logical about it, but there can be trigger points in aggression coming through. It doesn't necessarily have to be towards the divine feminine, but it can be just in relation to the cleanup, lower frequency energies of manipulation, and them not wanting to do those things. There's also a lot of throat chakra going on at the moment, and especially for the feminines, I feel. Again, as I mentioned with the heart chakra, there is different levels as well. There may be a lot of past life energies coming through at the moment, where you may be jumping timelines when it does come to your energies of what you're purging. I'm also seeing an energy with the feminines of many years gone by and past tense hurts being resurrected. And I really do feel it's going to come up in the astrology when it does come down to each zodiac sign. So pay attention to that tomorrow. In America, it will be the evening, because as I said, right now it's 9:30 in the evening. Overall, they are focused on only what they're wanting to move towards. They're crowning energy at the moment, and it's so interesting because Saturn is really going to be showing who's there and who's not, who's manipulating, and they're going to see this. So the crowning energy and the issue overall is manipulation. This can be where some of the power is out of their hands. It can be where people are trying to make them feel guilty for what they're wanting, and it's not okay, but they are really only focusing on what makes them happy. And again, even though it's coming up with the crowning energy as finance, it's still directly connected to heart chakra and the Aries frequency, only in which of what I'm happy with. With the manipulation factor, I do feel it, again, it's causing conflict and it's causing moodiness. So the overall energy of what they're looking at in their mind's eye definitely at a 3D level, is very much what's directly in front of them and who's trying to be quite tactical and manipulative in their life. They're already aware of it. And I will pull clarifiers on these to find what they're wanting us to know even further. With this manipulation, I do feel they might be keeping some of the cards close to their chest, but they are aware and in consciousness in relation to this. Okay. They feel these people don't learn their lessons. Now, this card has come up in reverse, teaching and learning. Again, it can come down to family-related dynamics, especially the nodes being in Cancer and Capricorn. It can also be work colleagues. They're understanding the person's capacity or people's capacity. So it's not necessarily one individual, it's various individuals. And I am also seeing a lot of detachment when it does come to certain groups and ways of doing things with people. And that potentially there is this energy of deep reflection in what used to resonate with them, but right now what doesn't. And that vibration has been quite confusing to them, but very enlightening. They're really letting go of anything that isn't working. And this is a karmic hand. And I did name the video this, and I haven't pulled cards till I come on camera. It does feel as though in the next week, but I'm feeling the energy is peaking and the warnings are coming. Something is going to come to a seismic end. It can be a very dirty end, so to speak. It is looking very messy. There is haze around the area where they're unsure. They know this is coming, but they're unsure how it's going to be. I'm also hearing, especially with the Neptune frequency, smoke and mirrors. Yet the crowning energy is very much that they're aware of these. This individual or individuals may think that the person doesn't know, but they're fighting for another day. And it does mean that it will end the scenario where they can physically move that frequency forward. And again, Pluto is very much about births, deaths, and resurrections. So there can be situations that rear their ugly head of the old and the past. It can be karmic energies as well, coming out of nowhere on masculine or feminine side, although this is on the masculine side. They really had lost faith in the given situations. The reason this is coming in, I do feel, is because their energy is like a battle, like a warrior, so to speak. But at the same time, the Pluto frequency is almost making it happen. It's working with Saturn, although Saturn is almost, how do I put it? I'm almost feeling like on the 30th, Saturn is just flashing the light and saying this is what the scenario is. Jupiter is showing you where you want to move, but there's the inability to have that due to some situations that have not been removed, resolved, and ending. To the core, they know what they want and they know who they are, and they're returning to the innocence of their old vibration. It is a walking home for them in their frequency level. They do feel a lot stronger, but they do have a lot of compassion for people around them, even if they are aware of their frequency. So this is lower frequency and higher frequency. I'm also hearing the past as well as the present. It's almost like they're watching a movie. Look at the way the man is standing on, on a little bench. It's a bit like I'm seeing, what do they call it? The Muppets. When the two grumpy men are sitting on the balcony and they're watching the show. It sort of feels as though the genuineness of the energy is there, but they're reflecting back on their life. A bit like this has got old number one, and isn't this a bloody joke number two? But they're being very humble with the way they're operating with it. They are jumping into comedy, I'm seeing, and they're also jumping into, no, I'm maturing and my frequency isn't like that anymore. And I do know feminines have been doing this as well. It's a bit like talking to yourself, that self-talk, wanting to act in a lower frequency way when triggered, but then really coming into check. Hi, love. Morning, really coming into check and going, hey, but that's not who you are anymore. So what are you doing? But there is a lot of frustration. Some of us might not be acting the way we naturally do. because the energy is very intense at the moment. So try and find a little bit of forgiveness for yourself. Know that it is temporary, although these transits are for 5 months. Initially, it is going to feel quite heavy. At the same time, yes, tower moments can come on both sides, but just understand it is all part of the process. A bit like with the ego, it can say, well, no, I feel it needs to be this way, and therefore that's the only way. At the moment, we do have a lot of tunnel vision, but we have many tunnels we're directly looking at. And masculine is looking at it in a very unique way. Remember that feminines, through their transition, gained a lot of knowledge and information on what does work, what doesn't work, where people operate from, how to deal with the conflict, how to deal with masculine. You each learnt your road in a particular way, and that was your education. Masculine also has had their education through their process and has experience with these people, okay? So don't feel that your way is the only way. Understand that your twin does know these people very well, and they will actually deal with it in their own particular way, and it will be the most healthy way. Although I do feel, even if they are trying to play the chess game in scenarios to alleviate the situation, I still feel tower moments are coming in at left field to prevent the pretty energy. I'm just going to say it that way. A lot of times we tend to think, you know, in order to have that higher frequency, we need to constantly be perfect and let things go a particular way. But again, I'm hearing ego of mind. This is the only way. And that can be on both sides of the fence. I do feel universe has a good point that they're trying to make to us. And what is coming, we do very much need to trust. If you are feeling triggered, the only thing I can say is tune out of the future, tune out of the past, and anchor your energy in. The troubles and delays are causing a great deal of conflict. They do feel that it's moving super slow, like snail slow. Look how still the water is. It's almost like the woman is leaning forward. They also know you've waited a very long time. It's not they want to take it slow with you. They feel to tie up the loose ends, it's taking forever and a day. There is a lot of conflict and gossip that is causing issues for them. I don't feel it's in relation to them, although you may be hearing it and you need to tune out of it, because unless you hear it from the horse's mouth or you've directly been a witness, you need to detach from that energy. You need to focus back on your own energy. Sometimes you don't want to know. You just don't want to know sometimes. They have faith in the scenario. They do have faith. They know it's going to be okay. They also know that with all the things that they've endured, they are going to come through the other side. They feel there's no way they can remain the way they were. They've changed. A lot of, with this ending, there's an inability in that department, and it can be with the karmics, to heal the situation. They're wanting to smooth out more from a karmic related fashion to balance the karmic frequency, to rectify situations. But it's an unattainable thing at this point in time. And again, they do need to trust in the process that universe is trying to help them, whereby some have not actually owned their power in a particular fashion. It's not that that's wrong. It is a process that we all spiritually go through. It's more that from a compassion point of view, they enslaved themselves to that frequency to sacrifice for individuals. That sacrifice has become very taxing upon their health, but it actually hasn't rectified it. And again, that was very similar to the twin flame journey, in which there could be the codependent patterns in the beginning, where you might think that if you just hold it in a particular way, it will balance out. And it's almost like you're holding space, trying to get balanced or trying to shape yourself like Play-Doh to be the correct one. You always were the correct one. And in theory, if you are the twin or you are in a deep soulmate connection, no matter what you do, as long as you focus on your energy and you live in your truth, that's all you can ever be. If you're coming to a place where you're having to hide the energy of who you are, it won't be able to be like that forever. So you could get quite triggered and aggressive. Again, this area in their life where they've lost hope is with a family-related dynamic. Okay, and again, it could be connected to their childhood, but again, with the nodes being in Cancer and Capricorn, it's a connection in, so it can be with a, I'm feeling some of them have lost a parent. I feel this is more past tense though, but everyone is unique on their journey. For some who it's relevant, it may be biological parents. For some, it could be fertility. For some, it's the time frame, similar to the feminines, body clock running out of time. They are looking at this and realizing that some things need to change, but they're also dealing with their inner childhood wounds and things that they wanted to have. That particularly, they also, if they were with a karmic, they don't look at that person as partner material or woman material. There's a lot of energy at the moment coming through in this read. With the troubles and delays, again, it can be connected to this person or people. I'm going to pull some cards for those that do not have karmics with a feminine or feminine frequency with children. Try and cover it all. Okay. Those that don't have children that are the masculines are really wanting in this ending cycle that they're wanting more positive energy. So they're having to walk away from particular scenarios. Anything that isn't serving them, they're actually walking away from because they're finding it to be very debilitating. The thing that made them struggle for those that don't have, a child connected, there is the energy where with their crowning energy, the manipulation of people, it was lower frequency partners. And it really made them question their self-worth. The reason why their energy was drawn towards that was to raise their self-worth. So it did serve a purpose. They know that this wasn't going to go anywhere, and they're really paying attention to the vibration of what they're feeling. And it's weird, when I just lifted it, it felt like genie in a bottle. They wanted to magically make something that it wasn't. So they have really been trying, but no matter what they've done, they've already got the consciousness about it. They just don't feel they do feel this person to be quite a gold digger. They also feel that it was hindering their progress moving forward. There may have been a very lower frequency person involved with them that was to the point where all they wanted was the facade of the situation. And it was, again, very financially debilitating. Some are having separations and they're dealing with the financial aspects also. But overall, their finances are going to improve, as well as what they're moving towards definitely is going to improve. Feminines, and then I'll do the energy between you. Interesting. This come up for the May reads, and I did pull crystals for the Twin Flame Soulmate Path reads that are going to be open tomorrow. So each zodiac sign has that covered, and there is a mid-month. And I did channel through the crystals this month. A lot of amethysts come through, so I do feel we're really clearing our energy. And citrine as well, particular zodiac signs. You guys, feminines, have this in reverse. And again, I am picking solar plexus and sacral chakra. It may be either it's overactive or underactive. Overactive, you will feel very touchy-feely. Underactive, you will lackluster with that and think, yeah, no deal. Also, your self-esteem related energy might be quite low, and that is a temporary energy. It's mainly because your auric field is damaged. Definitely with the astrology we had last year and doing more research into it, there is exercises you can do to increase your auric field. It's a bit like a bubble. Okay, so your lower chakras during retrogrades will be impacted. Citrine's coming up for you guys in reverse as your crowning energy. So it's like wanting the healing, wanting the spiritual union, wanting the intimate union, wanting to be able to just focus on that and get that kind of anchored in. There is chemistry, but some of you do feel quite detached, and that's not bad, so don't stress. It's more a transitional state due to exhaustion and depletion in those chakras, but also detaching in a sense that you know there's some things you can heal, there's some things you can't. It needs to be for cycles to end. Many of you were concerned that vibrationally it can be an offense that you're taking, that you may feel very unattractive, or that the only reason they wanted to be with you was due to a codependent pattern, and that still remains. Again, that healing is being transmuted by both counterparts, both people. So again, with Aries being the first house, you're really, it's helping you own your self-worth. So again, although it's coming across as negative, it's actually positive. So when you're living in that frequency, what can happen is you actually meditate upon it and you tell yourself BS. You do. If a person didn't want to be with you, they wouldn't be with you. If you could pick the most unattractive person in your mind's eye and be with them for money, get that right in your head, you know. So energetically, this person, if they've continued to come back to you, it was not about a lower frequency. To a degree, lower frequencies came through due to codependent patterns, but a lot of you in a self-worth aspect are really coming through and feeling this person doesn't love you. There's a lot of pain body experience coming up. You may be feeling as though this person has made you question this even further, and even that you had done the purging in that area and it's coming back for resurrection. Lackluster, you know, some of you wondering what to do, then you detach, then you feel directly the person comes back. It can also feel like a spiritual attack. So you're attempting to detach, and then the frequency is coming back in again. So it does feel almost like an attack on the ego, an attack on the mind's eye and the third eye. But again, there is throat chakra related, where many of you want to communicate, but it can be at that lower frequency you're wishing to communicate. Not all of you, but there can be those temporary trigger points coming through, and it's because you haven't found the correct words to say, or the person isn't there for you to say it. I do feel, though, there is an energy moving through the 30th onwards where you're really going to be focused on love, okay? Your intuition connected to your counterpart's going to be heightened. Some of these triggers have come through early so that you can prepare for this. You're both working on the same thing. I have said for a while, feminines had been in the 5D. Masculines had been in the 3D. Masculines are now learning to be in both. Feminines are in very dense 3D energy at the moment, and you're having trouble ascending because it feels very dense. It's not a bad thing. It's there to pause you, okay? It's there to slow you down, to allow that transitional cycle to happen. Overall, you want to invest in something that's going to be a success. You feel you put a lot of love and effort into this connection. And some of you are even saying to yourself, am I codependent? Is this my twin? Is this even real? Do I look crazy? There's no way if a person loved me, they would do this to me. I mean, those are all things we say. They really are. But when you're at that lower frequency with the base chakra, solar plexus, sacral chakra, you're actually going through ascension symptoms. Just be gentle with yourself, nurture yourself, and understand this too shall pass. But it's helping you own your worth. And it won't be at an aggressive level. It will be as a purge of the ego, coming home to the self and saying, it's okay. Now that I've gone to that next level energetically, I now know my worth and I love myself. So it is a way that universe is helping you come home to self. Even with the stagnation there, it's what's helping you. But this stagnation with Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter is going to help that movement. The reason all of what's coming is due to the stagnation. Again, I do feel, and this did come up in a Libran read, and you know, Three of Swords. A lot of us do get too triggered by the Three of Swords. You've got to look at it in many ways, especially in a tarot read. That is a general read. Although this is collective energy, be mindful that when you see the Three of Swords, which this isn't, but I'm tuning into this energy, third-party situations, potential cheating, etc. You've got to understand it can mean various things. The energy of that person could be dealing with someone externally of that energy. It could be a karmic that they've already separated from. There could be two energies that are directly affecting the dynamic. So don't just take it down to the energy of just a cheating scenario. Also, with this here, there's a lot of hurt coming up connected to betrayals and the karmic and frustration. So again, the Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter is coming through for both counterparts to break these energies down. Now, the energy between you. My body and mind are balanced. I am healthy. Both of you really do have the strength to cope with this. And although I tell you some things have happened the last few days, and I was like, am I strong enough to do this? It's more the patience. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. So it can be a karmic energy of finance. It can be a karmic energy of parents, mother, father. It can be a sibling. It could be a best friend. We all had karmics. You know, a lot of people, when they do hit in the twin flame journey, am I the karmic? Yes, you are. Because look at it this way. From a manifestation point of view on my journey, I can tell you, has been 18 years and counting in union. The reality is what I did look at was anything I was afraid of, I actually manifested accidentally. So as an empath, you will tune into that energy very quickly. And that's why I said it's very important to work on your spiritual gifts. As you tune into the environment and the energy, my movement and other YouTube's movement, and it doesn't mean you need to be on YouTube. I mean, if anything, it gives you the bubble not being to protect your union. There are certain things you shouldn't share with individuals to protect the scarred union, and that's due to the evil eye. When it does come to the work you do on yourself, you do find when you're tuning into yourself daily, you ascend quicker because you're asking yourself, what is the energy of the day? What do you feel that this person's feeling energetically? You're moving next to people. You're working on ways to anchor your energy in. So you do tend to move through that very quickly, and the purge can be very aggressive at times. Together, this is a time where you guys are going to rebuild, and it's interesting because masculine's got Tower. The energy between you is rebuild. Both of you are having these things happen external to yourselves to assist with your rebuild connected. Glad I pulled clarifies. I was like, really? Okay. So the area of where the rebuild's going to be is where you never thought possible. Okay? Watch what you think. As you detach, it will happen. You're not going to see it coming. When it does come to deceptive energies, this is the energy between you. There's always a newbie in town. Hi. We are heading to the 30th, so I'll have to go back and read that. The energy of any deceptive energies between the both of you, you're both protected, but I'm also getting another story. Both of you, because Aries is in Chiron and in Venus, there is, again, look at the way she's holding the child. I feel this is feminine. I feel the nurturing is coming while you're doing some purging. I also do feel there is an energy where masculine is wishing to protect you. I do feel there's a lot of universe actually assisting the both of you with any lower frequencies coming into the situation. I do feel also there's a lot of ways this can go, and that has been the issue. But how do I put it? Focusing in, I hate bloody cameras like this. Focusing in all these different scenarios of what could happen. And I've been very mindful of this lately because anything I've been thinking, the higher you ascend when you think something happens. So you've really got, you pay attention to your mind and you grow into the situation to work with it in a sense of manifestation and tuning in. Trust me. I do feel connected. Both of you are looking at scenarios, but they're all the crappy ones. They're all the 3D dense ones. This could happen. Well, if this happened, I'll do that. If this happened, I'll do that. Clarification. And I've been hearing this all month. Tune out of what you're thinking it's going to be, because it's not. If you keep tuning into that, it is actually, yes, a relative 3D, but it's also an energy of where you're tuning into and you're assisting it. Let go of it. Tune out of it like it doesn't exist. Set your goals high. Set your intentions with the outcome high. Really, really high. Like above the shit. I'm just going to say it, okay? Above the toxicity, above the drama, above the fear-based frequencies. Ascend. Set the bar high. Thank you for liking, guys. I appreciate it. It shares the video. And the channel can't grow if we don't. You might be super critical, you know, and it could be towards each other. It could be just in general, the thoughts very separately within the connection, frustrated that this didn't move faster to the next level. Again, I'm saying it's feeling like it's moving at snail pace. Even if you are in communication, even if you are in reunion, everyone collectively feels the situations of scenarios external are going very slowly. Very slowly. Universe is helping you. Trust me on this. Universe is helping you. Again, rise above it. I'm not saying don't be peeved off. I'm not saying that you're not feeling that vibration. But I am saying universe is helping you with this, even if it's going to look scary in the next few weeks. Trust it. If you tune too much into, oh crap, listen, Linda, it looks like this. If I go left, it'll look like that. If I go right, it'll look like that. Don't think about it. Some of you also, from a point of view, are thinking there has been so much time wasted. It's like, how much more time are we going to waste? You know, we're getting older. This is happening. This frequency is getting old. When is it going to change? Again, universe is helping. You are concerned that there may be a consequence. You also may feel that caution around karmic frequencies. This can be with friends, co-workers, karmics, defensive energy, protective energy. If you're getting triggered, especially connected to any karmic frequencies, the path, the road, it is saying this is helping you look at it from a different perspective. Don't be mad at yourself. You're human, and these trigger points do come up to shift movement, okay? A lot of times we do think, gosh, I was a lower frequency. Why did I say that? Everything happens for a reason. You're human. Usually the ones we love the most, let's be honest, we're not always at our highest frequency because we're human. But then we step back, we meditate, and we address it to rectify situations. everyone collectively is getting triggered. So a lot of people are feeling, God, have I really wasted my time? What am I doing here? Am I fooling myself? Is this possible? Yes, it's possible. You wouldn't have gone through that long a cycle for it not to be possible. But doing the work and knowing that this process is going to come full circle, the next 5 months is going to be very interesting. But the energy is going to increase over the next 48 hours. I need a cup of tea just thinking about that. It's the most politically correct statement for YouTube. Any questions? Any questions in relation to the masculine or the feminine? Stay tuned for the zodiac signs tomorrow for your astrology. I do feel there's a lot of influence of karmic energies. Too many questions to address. If you do need a booking and you want me to tune into your twin flame journey or any blocks in your road, especially if you're looking at blocks, get to a point, you write it down in a chart of what you feel in an energetic way that you feel your counterpart needs to address, and pause, step away for a day if you need to, then come back to it and say, okay, in what shape or form each row directly relates to me in a different scenario, because it won't be exact, but it will be something that will relate to you. And it could be a key to a block that when you actually can address, it can move you to the next level and fast track union. Yes. I've already felt the energy the last 3 days build up as an intuitive. There definitely has been trigger points of frustration. And again, each zodiac sign will deal with frustration in a different way, and it depends on how much you've grown. And it doesn't matter whether you are in union or aren't. We're all going to be feeling that energy. Yes, I did say that. What do I do with a copy of them? I forgot to ask. Well, don't copy it. You're looking at your blog. Writing it down can mean that you're bringing it out. Purging can come at different ways. So, especially when you're looking at your counterpart and you're looking at the reasons why you're protecting yourself by addressing those areas, it's detaching from the there's so many levels of codependency. There's so many levels, and we'll always at some point in our life drop back into it. And it can be on a daily level, at just a slight level of not saying no, for instance, when you really want to say no. And that's the very hurtful thing, is that we all wish we could be perfect, but we're human. So, hi lovely waters. So to get to a point where you have to say to somebody that you actually love completely, you don't know if you can do something. It's very difficult, but it's also throat chakra, and it's trying to be in your truth. And it could be the energy just for that day, and it can change. But you need to try and find forgiveness to yourself for that. You're human. The copy of it, of your manifestation, and then at the new moon, the Taurus moon, it would be a perfect time to write down and set all your intentions. Yeah, well, the union, and I used to really question, I used to ask myself, what do they mean by union with self? Like, what are they on about? And it was during that egoic battle I was having with myself in relation to my twin flame path. I totally understood. I'd literally looked at it from so many angles that I exhausted my third eye. And then it was like, meh, I really need to go to bed. And it took months. But again, it doesn't mean to say you haven't been working on it already for months. So sometimes the epiphany can be enough, and then your brain gets mushed like a bar mixer, and then you're like, let me check in. Okay, so have I processed this enough? And I thought, yes. How do I feel about that? Tired. It's like even tuning into what you think it should come as, disconnect. If it's because they do return. If it's to be and universe wants it to be, they're going to return. And especially if it is a TF, it's part of your path energetically to help each other ascend to a level, and then you're in alignment for that. But the union definitely does come from finding peace with yourself, actually falling in love with yourself, and putting yourself above all others in a loving way, not in an egotistical way, not in a you can get stuffed way, in a no, that doesn't feel correct for me, so I have to own that. That's being in love with yourself, where you can nurture yourself, respect yourself, honor yourself, where if you find that your counterpart is coming for sugar candy and you feel they're not being open spiritually, by you revoking that, it's not that you don't love them, you're holding self-love. And it doesn't mean they're never returning. It means you have come home to yourself and you're loving yourself like a chapel. And when you do love yourself like a chapel, they will respect and honor you for that. Yes. And look, even detach from the term twin flame, because they're still human beings. Yeah, just, it's like, and again, if you choose to do that, that's okay too. But that's a choice. That's different. If you're doing it because you feel there'll be a consequence for an action, and of course, obviously you like it, that's different. But, you want to always check in with yourself. And I mean, I've got to have a big shout out for Jen for that. Jen Bro, the one gift that she gave me that was worth all the things she gave to me and more, which will be a gift that will last me a lifetime, is how do I feel about that? Do I want to do that? And I looked at her when she said that and I was like, wow, how often do we do that? How often do we actually pause when a person asks us to do something or makes us feel a vibration? Do we actually stop and check in with ourselves? That's self-love. That's self-respect. It's not that you're a bad person if you can't do something. It's that you need to be honest enough with yourself, even if it could hurt somebody, and be truthful to that person. Yes, but if there's something to come up, it'll come up anyway. Detached doesn't mean avoid. Detached means let go and trust that the situation is going to sort itself out, that we are not God, Buddha, Allah. It's universe is very powerful. The weather is very powerful. I found an article today that my girlfriend posted, and it was in relation to dream states being a scientific proof now that during dream states we can communicate with each other. So the 5D is very strong. If you've got a blockage, the quicker you work on it and you find peace with it and you realize, I'll give you an example, somebody cheating on you. Do you think by hiding from it and being detached means you can never get hurt? No. But you can actually check in with yourself and say, okay, if I'm vibrationally okay to have a connection, be intimate, be with a person, and be in that moment, not 20 years ahead, not let's get married, let's have babies, let's do this and that. Do I want to do it right now? Yes. Okay. Doesn't mean my whole world's going to come down? No, because you have your bread and butter, you're doing the work, you have your home, and you love yourself. If you're choosing to do something because you want to, you're detaching from codependency and you're not using that person as a babysitter, a healer, a god, that they can fill your cup and they can be everything. Yes, in the spiritual journey, you feel very spiritually connected. And it's not to say that goes. At times you feel it does when you're hurt and when you're detaching, but then you transform and you come to a different space. Cool. I'll call you in the morning though, Giggle, because I'm tired. I know what we're like. We'll be talking for hours. Any other questions? Thank you, everyone who joined this session. Thank you for liking. I really do appreciate it. It does help. And thank you for all your comments. And feel free, if you've got any questions after the video is done, throw them up on the video and I'll either do them in a video format as an answer. Hi, Madonna. How are you? How are we? I was having technology issues before with the thing. I was going to come on early and there was a few tower moments today, so I was like, jeez. Cool. I just wish I was 50 people sometimes. It'd make it so much easier. How are you, my lovely? Yes, of course, mate. I'm a twin and I'm a human too. It doesn't matter whether you're in union, reunion. You're still going to have it for the rest of your life. I'm not magic, you know. I'm human. I'm 3D. I'm 5D frequency, but I'm 3D. Good info on those dealing with addictions as a karmic issue. Even those who are dealing with a twin that has an addiction, the one thing I will say is you need to know you can't save people. And again, similar to what's coming through in the read, detach. Yeah, I work hard. Thank you. You know, trust in the fact that if we are ascending, any human being can change. Any human being can move. But while we're tuning into it and we feel our counterpart is blocked, and oh my gosh, at a 3D level, this can never change. What was the card coming up for feminines? Looking at all the various scenarios of what could come, but they were all the negative ones. All the potential blockages of how you deal with it at a 3D. Look way above it and over it. Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter are working with you right now. You feel energetically collective that they're working against you. No, they're not. They're working for you. They're showing you. And our life shows us. It's like, you know, we have to take accountability. We can't say it's because of the planets. It's what's occurring in our life. And we do know certain areas already energetically where potential things are going to come up. If we need to change it and it's within our power, we will. Otherwise, the universe does assist with that. And we just keep pushing forward. Emotions give us a chemical rush. That's why some are addicted to drama. Oh, trust me, I'm not addicted to drama, and it's around me all the time. I have no addiction to drama. It's funny, I worked in community for a very long time. For those of you who don't know what community is, working with disabilities, mental health, elderly, palliative care, and it was for 25 years, and I still hold it very valuable. And, you know, a lot of them are very psychic. The interesting thing is, and I don't even know where I was going with that then. Got to read. I read a comment. The chemical rush. Drama. There was one place I worked at, and funny enough, I was actually pregnant. I worked all through my pregnancy. Again, due to financial, but body was able to, so I continued. Now my mother's calling. She had a drama today as well. During that process, the funny thing is that they would continue to put me into one particular ward. And every client that was always very in love with me, they absolutely loved me, were all the lower frequency clients, all the ones that one would deem as, good God, are you really going to put me with this person? And they would always be attracted to my energy. Energetically, universe only gives you what you can handle. So if you have a lot of BS around you, it's because you have guts of steel and universe feels you can handle it. I know it's sucky, but it may also be a pattern in which you would save you all the time. You're the rescuer. So as an empath, you will energetically understand people's vibrations. Therefore, people at lower frequencies will directly be attracted to you to come towards you to heal. And you are like a transmuter. You're a bit like a power processor to detoxify that situation. But how you directly relate to it will help, and you will ascend even further. And then there's yeah. Any other questions? I tell you, the chemical hormone response over the last 48 hours to me was Hiroshima. And I'm a very patient person, but it's like, seriously? Seriously? You're going to take me there? I don't want to go there. I don't. But again, sometimes I don't want to be a nice person. I mean, why do we have to get all the boo-ha right? And that's the problem. When you do get to a certain point, you know, damn straight if you're going to be operating at a lower frequency and you're like, you want to go there, Yildiz? Are you going to be that old person? And it's like, no. I don't even know if I could deem it as the old person. Deem it as my bitch on fire. But, you know, it's like, don't go there. It's like, you know, self-talk. It's like, don't go there. Don't go there. That's okay. So has anyone else been experiencing BF moments, or is it just been me? Little old me. I just wish this print YouTube was a little bit larger. Interesting. I actually had a dream about my twin flame's mother. I woke up crying. It was surreal. It was really surreal. She was having a full, and the ironic thing is, her eyes were very different, almost like Avatar, and it was like it was a full blown conversation. You'll always know when a person from the other side is actually having a conversation with you, and it's a legit communication because the dream feels very different. It's not a dream. It can also be a walk in from a dream you're having, and the dream shifts and the person comes in. Oh, ascension symptoms with body aches is profound. Now, I was talking to Luciana, and she has said that her work has increased when it comes to massages. Yes, body aches and headaches from your past life records are coming up. They're being purged at the moment, and balancing of the masculine and feminine. You can do breathing exercises. There's one side's feminine, one side's masculine on the brain. You will find that you will be able to breathe through one nose more so than the other, one nostril. You can do breathing exercises to actually increase it, to balance both frequencies of the masculine and feminine. But I'll have to do a separate video on that too. I mean, I could probably stay here for months and just talk about all the things I'm going to tell you. But that's why the private sessions on Skype and telephone do work, because you can ask me questions. We can dig in and tune into right side pain. Got to remember, masculine related power. It's very similar. So feminine, I believe, is this side. Masculine's this side. When you're getting the ache, it's to do with an imbalance on the other side. I remember when I read the article again. Again, it's more tuning into it, more. I'm upskilling. It's not that it didn't make sense. It's that it's 10:13 at night and I've been up since 5. Drop a like before you exit. I would really love that. I mean, we have 44 beautiful, wonderful human beings here. And I mean, I would really appreciate that. Yes. Rosemary, however, if you do have epilepsy, and lavender can cause fits. So you should always be cautious, although I'm not a doctor, I'll say that for YouTube. But yes, you should be careful with aromatics. Do the research first. And definitely when it does come to eucalyptus, always get the lighter version because, again, it can also cause issues of seizures. It's very rich. And it can cause asthma attacks. There's certain eucalyptus plants that are more lighter. And there are other ones where you think you're helping your children and you're actually potentially causing asthma attacks because the aroma is very vibrant. I mean, at the moment we have rain coming, and you do find when we've had the hot weather in Australia and the rain hits the ground, it actually activates the eucalyptus, and we do tend to get a lot of hay fever from the eucalyptus being activated, and it really affects the sinuses and causes asthma. So yes, watch out for eucalyptus peeps. You will find also weather-related things going on. And again, we do have some eclipses coming up around June, July. And interestingly enough, at the beginning of the year, we had the eclipse with Capricorn moon. We do have that at the very end of the year. Very interesting. So it's almost like sizing out an energy for the whole year, especially with the nodes being Cancer and Capricorn. Gotta go.